And the other thing that you asked, Joe, is if I could lose connection with God because I have money. No, absolutely not. So here's the deal. When you have more money, you have more time. And when you have more time, you feel free, capable, peace of mind, right? Secure, safe. Now you can have a good connection with God within you.
One of the greatest problems in this world is this: the things that make us fully experience ourselves as humans, such as love, connection, compassion, and the understanding of our spiritual nature, are not taught in our schools. My name is Joseph Descents. I will be bringing to you 30-minute podcasts with spiritual teachers, leaders, and light workers. We will be looking into the 4 pillars of your life: the self, health and wellness, relationship, and finances from a spiritual perspective. Ready, set, let's go.
All right, welcome to the 30-minute podcast. I am here with my friend Adriana Dale. Adriana, we're just going to get right into it.
Awesome.
I have heard many spiritual teachers say that money is energy, right? What does that really mean?
All right. Hi, Joe. Okay. So when you say money is energy, you want to understand it from 3 separate dimensions. Number 1, you have the mental dimension. Number 2, you have an emotional dimension. And number 3, you have a quantum physical dimension. So in the mental, you get to talk about mindset. The mindset you hold about money is the thought form in your brain about money. So you can think of a $20 bill as a little bit of money, but a homeless person, for example, can think of that same bill as a lot of money. Here you have the very same $20 bill with 2 different thought forms about it. So you're not having an experience with the actual $20, you're having an experience with the mental $20 bill. So you and the homeless person do not have the same $20 bill in the mental dimension, because the $20 is the mental energy that you hold in your mind about your self-image. And your self-image is what you feel deeply about yourself. Your self-image converts the physical world into a mental energy that you experience in your mind as your very own unique reality. So the same holds true with money. A thought is mental energy, and what you think about money creates a mental energy form of that money in your mind. That is your first understanding of money on the mental dimension. Now, let's talk about money as an energy in the emotional dimension, right? Having money makes you feel a certain way about yourself. Also, conversely, not having money makes you also feel a certain way about yourself. So money can make you feel a certain way about yourself so in that case, your heart becomes your emotional bank account. This means that if you don't have money, you're going to feel 7 major emotions. And those emotions are: you'll feel poor, incapable, worthless, powerless, insecure, unsafe, and fearful. And those 7 emotions, they actually represent the psychic, energetic version of money in your heart. And those 7 toxic emotions will flow into your bloodstream, and they'll begin to affect you. They'll begin to decrease your immune system and make your body susceptible to disease, which means that poverty is a sickness, right? But there's an opposite side to this too, Joe. So in the same emotional dimension, you can use money to create a healthy energy inside your body. So when you have money according to the divine laws and principles, you feel wealthy, you feel capable, worthy, powerful, secure, safe, and free. And when those 7 positive, powerful energies flow through your bloodstream, it makes your immune system stronger, and it gives you a great sense of well-being. So that was the second one, the emotional dimension. Now let's talk about the quantum physical dimension, right? The third piece. At the quantum physical dimension, scientists, they've proven that matter is mostly filled with empty space. So what you see as a solid is mostly a void. So we who think in terms of spirit, we know that what they call empty space is actually the cosmic mind, the mastermind, right, that moves particles, the mastermind that makes a seed grow, the mastermind that makes the sun rise, and the mastermind that makes our bodies function, that moves life through all things. So this mastermind that is in all physical things is also in money, because the monies matter, right? It's simply a piece of paper or a piece of metal, but it's mostly space, which is the mastermind. It is energy. It's invisible, just like all particles. So the truth is that the same mind that fills money is the same in all physical things. It's also filling us, right? Human beings. Our own minds are part of the larger mastermind. So as humans, we have to learn to link our minds to the mastermind, right? So that the physical things that we desire enter our experience. In the material things we desire and pull them into the experience, and that's what we call manifestation. However, before you attract money in the quantum physical dimension, you have to be able to have the right nature of money in the mental dimension and the emotional dimension. So for example, if the money that you have isn't enough and it makes you feel those toxic emotions, right? Incapable, worthless, powerless, insecure, unsafe, and fearful, what happens is you are releasing into the mastermind is a repellent energy about money. So you will constantly begin to repel money away from you, because the mastermind is interpreting the feelings as if the money is making you feel miserable. Therefore, the mastermind has to make sure that you don't have a relationship to money. So it will protect you from money by disconnecting you from it, because it doesn't understand that it's actually the lack of money that is making you feel that way, or the abundance of money that makes you feel a different way. It just knows money's making this person feel this way. Therefore, I'm going to make sure that this person and money are disconnected. But if money really makes you feel wealthy and capable and worthy and powerful and secure and safe and free, the mastermind's going to interpret this as, oh, money makes this person feel really good and healthy. I'm going to make sure this person has more money. That's why Jesus says, he who has to him, more will be given. But he who does not have, even the least he has, will be taken away from you. Because the mastermind only does two things. It seeks to protect you from that which is harming you, or supply you with the abundance of what's making you feel really good.
Wow. Wow. That was powerful. So we understand that money is energy. And I heard you speak about manifestation a little bit earlier. So to keep the conversation moving forward, do you believe that money can be manifested through prayer? And if you do, right, how does that whole mechanism work? Like, how does that work? How do you manifest money through prayer? How does that happen?
Okay. All right. Good question. So first of all, to pray is to create according to the divine laws, which means that your creation process needs to be in alignment with the divine laws of the universe. So to pray is to create, but also at the same time, it's to co-create, because you are creating within your mind, and God's mind, which is the cosmic mind, the mastermind, is taking what you created and manifesting it. So now the way the mechanism works, it's very simple. First, number one, you have to have the mental picture of what it is that you want. And number two, you have to dwell on that mental picture with all of your senses, right? As if you already had it, until your brain begins to create chemicals to support that mental picture, which means that the brain must begin to release happy chemicals before you can be sure that the mental picture has become a part of who you are. So the first part is very physiological, which means what you want, you have to envision it. And before it can become the cells of your brain, you have to involve your senses in it. Your sense of touch, taste, hear, and smell. If you involve at least 3 of those senses, the brain will believe it as a reality, and it will develop cells for it or neural pathways for it, or it will begin to develop neurological connections for it. So once the connection is established, the brain will begin to create these chemicals for which you will feel as an emotion. So first, you have to know what it is that you want. You have to hold the mental picture of it, and you need to dwell on it long enough. And I teach people how to do that because it's related directly to your self-image. It's almost like, let's say, Joe, that you go to a potter's house and he's making a vase, and he's a bad potter. And he creates a very bad vase because the vase is created in the image and likeness of the potter. So until you learn from someone who knows how to develop the right self-image, the self-image is the potter. If you have a poor self-image, it's going to create a very poor vision of what you want. But once you learn to develop the right potter or the right self-image in you, the person you are will create a picture of what it is you want. And once that picture is created, you are already in the process of creation, right? The prayer has begun. It begins with the picture. You involve your senses and it becomes part of your brain. Then your brain releases in the second dimension of the prayer, which is the feeling. You start feeling that emotion, right? Because the chemicals released by the brain become an actual feeling. And once it becomes part of your aura releases it into the universe like a radio frequency or a television frequency. And once the aura releases into the universe or the space, the mastermind is going to pick it up and it's going to move it into people who can provide the avenues and the circumstances for you to have what it is that you want, right? The mastermind will distribute it to them telepathically at the subconscious level and through means that you cannot understand. We don't understand it. You will begin to meet people, be in the right places where those people who are now becoming the manifestation of the mastermind on the subconscious level to meet with you and create these very unique circumstances so that you can have what you want. And that's the mechanism. But it begins with developing the right self-image in you, because without the right self-image, you cannot develop a clear picture on the mental and emotional level in order to manifest them. So that's what I learned by means of my spiritual mentors, which are Alan and Danielle Dagba. They taught me these powerful principles. They created this money. It's like money that the angels revealed to them, and it's called auric money. It's like an auric currency. I know it sounds wild, but when I went through their program that was called Cashtogram, they taught us how to magnetize money and how to pray specifically to bring in financial abundance. And this is, what I now teach. You have to develop the self-image in order to effectively pray and co-create with spirit.
Wow. Okay, so then that adds to another question. So in regards to being wealthy then, right? So do you think that becoming wealthy is a question of luck, or is this something that anyone can become wealthy? Like, how does that work?
All right, Joe, I'm going to say something that may shock you, but it's the truth. Wealth is actually genetic. Poverty is also genetic. So that means that your genes have learned a pattern that they duplicate. So if you're born in a lack-based environment, your genes, this is what you call the biology of your environment. Your genes are going to copy the experiences in your environment, and they're going to print them as an impression in your cells at the cellular level. At the brain level, you have a blueprint that tells you what you should think about money. So when that is printed there, it becomes part of your genes. So you will find yourself subconsciously making some decisions and choices that will make sure you become poor. You see, conversely, if you're born in a wealthy environment, you have printed in your genes the blueprints of the subconscious almost automatically that will lead you to choices and decisions that will bring you wealth automatically. So what people must understand is that anyone, yes, can be wealthy. But what that really means for you to become wealthy, you have to understand and take advantage of discoveries found in neuroplasticity, which means that you're not a fixed psychological being. You can literally change the language of your genes by printing a different experience in them. And that is what I teach. But yes, to answer your question, Joe, anyone can become wealthy, right? That's what I offer on my weekly workshops, right? So if people want to learn more, they can always join and learn some more.
Okay, so if somebody who was born into poverty would like to become healthy, what are the steps that person can take?
So the first step that I teach is how to change their self-image. So people believe that self-image is having positive affirmation, but it's more than that. It's literally to print a different version of you into your genes, in your neurons, so that you can pass it on to your children and reverse generational curse, right? Mm-hmm. So, Joe, you're asking me about generational curse. Poverty is a psychological construct. We're talking about breaking neurological pathways and reconstructing an entire human being. We're talking about being transformed, which means going beyond the previous form to bring in another form. So trans actually means go beyond and form, right? So we're going beyond form. The Bible says, be thee transformed by the renewing of your mind, which means you literally have to create another beingness, another physiological creature, which means printing another version of yourself in your genes and neurons. That takes someone who knows how to do that, to teach people to do that. That is what my calling is about. I'm here to break people free from the generational curse of lack and limitations and poverty.
Wow. Okay, so that brings another question. I got so many questions for you. I'm so sorry. But so a lot of people are dealing with financial anxiety, especially when it comes to spending, right? How can you help them overcome that?
All right. So the anxiety is coming from the 7 toxic money energies that we feel in our heart. So feeling poor, feeling incapable, feeling worthless, feeling powerless, feeling insecure, unsafe, fearful. Those 7 toxic energies that are in the heart, and it's actually creating the fear of spending, because normally you cannot spend money. You can only circulate money, because when you're spending money means that you're letting it go and it's never going to come back. But that's not how life works. Energy does not work that way. Energy cannot be lost. Energy can only be circulated. But when you have the 7 toxic money energies within you, you're always going to feel like letting go of money means that it's never going to come back. So when you learn to change your self-image, your relationship to money changes too. And you begin to feel exponentially more powerful. You begin to experience positive feelings about yourself. You feel wealthy, capable, worthy, powerful, secure, safe, and free. You feel like the energy that is moving out of you and into that company that is providing electricity to your home and gas to your home and providing food to your home, you feel that same joyful, wealthy, capable, worthy, powerful, secure, free energy. And the physical money is getting into those companies and blessing them, is expanding them, is allowing the energy of well-being to enter that company and circulate through the society and return back to you. So you will begin to spend money, to circulate money in that awareness that you are circulating money. You will automatically feel more joyful. So let me give you an example, Joe. Let's say you go to 2 different coffee shops every morning, right? And the first one, the customer service is just I mean, amazing. You know, they ask you how you're doing. They ask about your family. They know you have a dog. For a moment, you forget that you're even there to get coffee. They put so much joy inside of you that you buy the coffee and you leave that place feeling really good about yourself. They have increased your self-image. The second coffee shop, you know, the service is pretty nonchalant. They don't say hello. People don't seem like they're in a very good mood. And they give you the coffee and you leave that place feeling not so great. So the second coffee shop, you know, is not where you would choose to go, right? You would go to the first one. What happens is the coffee shop will become wealthier, right? The first coffee shop, because the customers aren't really going to spend money. They're going to circulate money.
That's
Why?
a fact.
Because they're not really going for the coffee. Subconsciously, they are going to feel good, to have their self-image increased. So it is, you know, their own self-image that's pulling the cash out of their pocket and spending with that company. That coffee shop circulates a positive self-image into the client, and the client translates that positive self-image into cash, and that cash circulates back to the coffee shop, and that coffee shop feels way good about themselves and circulates back again to the client, and then the client feels more amazing about themselves, and then they bring their friends to circulate more of that feeling of well-being as cash into the company, and it goes on and on and on. It's incredible. That is how it works. You circulate money.
Wow. Okay. So speaking of money, right? We've all heard this phrase that the love of money is the root of all evil, right? Do you think becoming wealthy could stop someone from having a true connection with God and living a righteous life?
It's true that love of money is the root of all evil, but let's define love, right?
Mm,
For example, if you take water as a neutral substance and add different substances to it, let's say you have an orange, a lemon, and strawberries, and you press the juice of each one of them into different containers with water, right? The water is going to take on a different color. It's going to taste different. So here's the thing. Love is a neutral substance. What you add to it is what gives it the texture that people experience. So when the Bible says the love of money, you must ask yourself, what does it mean by the love of money? Because the truth is, the love you have for yourself is different from the love you have for your mother. It's different for the love that you have for your dad, your friend, your
mhm.
country, your coworker, and so forth. So the love is the neutral substance, right, in us. But what we add to it depends on who we're going to give it to. So when we're talking about love of money, it really means basically that what you're adding to it, right? At the mental dimension, at the emotional dimension. So the love is inside of us. For example, why would someone break into someone else's car to steal money? See,
Mm,
because that person loves money. That is the root of evil. So if you're not going to see a rich person who's really wealthy according to the laws of the universe break into someone's car or someone's home or robbing people in stores, taking people's bags off the street.
that's true.
You're not going to see a wealthy person do that. And you will not see a wealthy person go around, in a neighborhood selling drugs, destroying young people's lives for $20 here and $30 there. Those are the things we call evil. And it's coming from the love of money. Okay. That is the root of evil. So the love of money here simply means the lack of money. When you
Mm,
don't have money, you love money. Why? You begin to give more importance to money than to humans. That is what the love of money means. You no longer care for society. You no longer care for your neighbor because now money's more important. You see that more with people who don't have money. So people will lie to get a job. They'll lie on their resume. Do you see what I'm talking about? And
mhm.
the other part of evil is feeling poor, incapable, worthless, powerless, feeling insecure, unsafe, fearful. That all of that is part of the evil. Therefore, the evil will begin to create sickness in your body. all of that has to do with not having enough money. So it's better to say the lack of money is the root of all evil, because when you lack money, you think about it all the time. And then that thinking about money all the time makes you forget about the well-being of society, connecting to humans, recognizing, their value. You're thinking about money more than the human being, more than you actually think about the well-being of society. So the rich person doesn't think about money. The rich person thinks about what they're going to do with the money, right? Where am I going on vacation, right? What kind of society do I want to live in? What kind of company do I desire to build? What are the charities that I'm interested in involving myself with? If you think about the majority of problems, Joe, of the world, most people who are helping the problems are the rich people. The poor people don't even have enough money to put on the table. How can they give extra to solve the problems of the world?
That's a fact.
So the rich, the wealthy, are using their money to solve the problems of the world, and that is doing good. But the idea of the love of money is the root of all evil, it's just not explained well to people, because you see more of the evil in people who don't have money. And the people with no money are not solving problems. They're actually creating more problems for the wealthy people to solve. So it's important that we become wealthy according to the laws of the universe, so that we can eradicate evil from the planet, so that when someone says the love of money is the root of all evil, this is the real way that they should understand it. And the other thing that you asked, Joe, is if I could lose connection with God because I have money. No, absolutely not. So here's the deal. When you have more money, you have more time. And when you have more time, you feel free, capable, peace of mind, right? Secure, safe. Now you can have a good connection with God within you, right? So it's quite the opposite. When you have money and time and you are free within, you can finally pray and have a real relationship with God, because when you don't have money, your relationship with God is based on you asking all the time, right? And it's always based on your needs. So you don't really approach God when you don't have money because you love God, right? It's because you need something. But when you don't have needs, at least needs of money, and you have time, you can meditate longer, right? You don't have to rush to get to work and do quick prayers and get in your car because you're going to be late, or constantly feel afraid of your bills and the debt and all of the things at the mental and emotional levels that are disconnecting people from their higher self, which is God within them. But when you're free within, when you really start enjoying the kingdom of God, and you know that your true self is your Christ self and is a queen or a king. I've never seen a king or queen that are poor. Yes, so that wealth is actually your divine inheritance, and you enter into that divine inheritance, right? Because that's the whole creation, right? That's how God is showing us of the wealth around us. You never see a tree with one leaf. You never see a field with one blade of grass. And you never go to the beach and see one grain of sand. Abundance is everywhere. And that is the sign, that source that you come from is abundant. So when you are poor, part of you is disconnected from your creator. But when you return to wealth and abundance, you return to connect with your true source. That is when you start having a good relationship with God, the best relationship with God.
Wow. So many bombshells you dropped today, Adriana. Do you have any events coming up?
Actually, yes, I have events coming up. I do live Zoom calls that you can register for. I believe that you're going to add it to the show notes.
Yeah, that'll be in the description.
Every Wednesday, they're our calls. They usually start at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, it's a great place to show up and learn more.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for your time, Adriana. I know you got a lot of other things to take care of. But, man, I'm going to put that link in the description for everyone to see. And, man, you dropped so many good nuggets today. So many great bombshells. And that's the 30-minute podcast. Let's go, Adriana.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's go.